You're scrolling through your banking app on a Thursday night, looking at the recurring charges that hit this month. Rent went up $85. Your car insurance renewed at $47 more per month. The grocery bill you used to keep around $350 has been hovering near $480 for 3 months straight. Your phone plan increased. Your streaming services collectively cost $23 more than they did last year. You added up mentally, you're spending roughly $200 more per month than you were a year ago, and you haven't upgraded anything. You're living the same life, in the same apartment, driving the same car, buying the same groceries, but somehow, maintaining the exact same lifestyle now costs $2,400 more annually. And here's what bothers you most. Your salary increased by $3,000 this year. You got a raise. You should feel like you're getting ahead. Instead, you're falling behind while working just as hard, maybe harder than you did before. The life you're working to maintain is becoming more expensive faster than your income is growing to support it, and you can't figure out when this tipping point happened or how to get off this track. My name is Williams, and I've spent years analyzing why the cost of maintaining a middle-class lifestyle has been rising faster than middle-class wages for decades, and why this creates a permanent treadmill where you work harder every year just to stay in the same place financially. If you feel like you're earning more but falling behind, or if you're exhausted by working constantly just to maintain a lifestyle that doesn't feel particularly luxurious, what I'm about to explain will show you exactly how the economic structure around you is designed to extract more every year while giving you less, and what you can do to escape it. Here's the foundational narrative we've all absorbed. If you work hard, your income grows over time through raises and promotions. Your standard of living should improve proportionally. This is the promise of economic mobility: work hard, earn more, live better. Each generation should be able to afford more than the previous generation at the same stage of life. But that narrative is breaking down, and the data shows it clearly. Since the 1970s, productivity has increased by over 250%, while median wages have increased by only about 16% after adjusting for inflation. This means workers are producing more value per hour worked than ever before, but they're capturing less of that value as compensation. Meanwhile, the cost of the major expense categories that define middle-class life, housing, healthcare, education, childcare, have increased far faster than general inflation. Housing costs have risen 180% faster than wages. Healthcare costs have risen 200% faster than wages. Childcare costs have risen 220% faster than wages. This creates a structural trap. Your income grows slowly while your expenses grow rapidly, which means maintaining the same lifestyle requires an increasing percentage of your income each year. You're not getting ahead by working harder, you're just working harder to avoid falling behind. And the insidious part is that this feels like personal failure. You think, I'm earning more than I did 5 years ago. Why does money feel tighter? You blame yourself for not budgeting better, not being disciplined enough, not advancing fast enough. But the system is designed to extract more from you every year, regardless of how hard you work or how disciplined you are. Let me show you exactly how this works with specific numbers. Someone named Maya earns $62,000 annually. 5 years ago, she earned $54,000. Her income has grown 15%. That's real progress. But let's trace what happened to her major expenses over those same 5 years. Rent. 5 years ago, $1,250 monthly. Now, $1,685 monthly. Increase 35%. Health insurance. Her portion. 5 years ago, $180 monthly. Now, $285 monthly, increase 58%. Car insurance. 5 years ago, $165 monthly. Now, $235 monthly, increase 42%. Groceries. 5 years ago, $320 monthly. Now, $465 monthly, increase 45%. Utilities 5 years ago, $140 monthly. Now, $195 monthly. Increase 39%. Her total monthly baseline expenses 5 years ago, $2,055. Today, $2,865. That's a 39% increase in the cost of maintaining the exact same lifestyle. Her income increased 15%. Her cost of living increased 39%. She's earning $8,000 more annually, but spending $9,720 more annually just to live the same way she did 5 years ago. She's objectively worse off despite working harder, getting promoted, and earning significantly more. This is the extraction mechanism. The economic structure around you, landlords, insurance companies, healthcare providers, food distributors, increases prices faster than wages grow. They capture the productivity gains that workers generate. You work harder, produce more value, and that value gets extracted through higher costs before it can improve your life. Here's the psychological shift that happens as you experience this over years. When you're in your mid-20s earning $45,000, you're in survival mode. You're scraping by, living frugally, sharing apartments, driving old cars. You're waiting for income growth to create breathing room. You think, once I'm earning $65,000, life will be easier. Then you hit $65,000 by your early 30s, but the costs of the life you're trying to live at 30, your own apartment, a reliable car, maybe starting a family have increased faster than your income grew. So you're still scraping by, just at a higher income level. The breathing room you expected doesn't materialize because the cost structure adjusted upward faster than your earning power. By your late 30s, you're earning $85,000. You should feel secure, but now you're trying to buy a house, support kids, save for college, plan for retirement. The costs of those life stages have exploded. Housing prices have tripled in most markets over 20 years. Childcare costs $1,200 to $2,000 monthly per child. College costs have increased 180% above inflation. You're earning more than you imagined you would, but you're more financially stressed than when you earned half as much, because the costs of the life you're trying to live have outpaced your income growth by massive margins. The person who breaks free from this pattern makes a radical choice. They opt out of the lifestyle arms race entirely. They refuse to chase the culturally defined milestones that have become economically unattainable without severe financial stress. They choose a life structure that their income can sustainably support rather than constantly stretching to afford the life they think they're supposed to be living. Let me show you what this looks like over a lifetime with realistic numbers because the compounding divergence is stark. Maya, in the conventional path, continues chasing the cultural script. At 35, she buys a house at the top of her qualified budget, $420,000 with 5% down. Monthly payment, $2,850, including taxes and insurance. She has 2 kids. Childcare costs $2,200 monthly. Her car lease is $485 monthly. Her student loans are $380 monthly. Total fixed obligations, $5,915 monthly. Her take-home on $85,000 salary, $5,400 monthly after taxes and benefits. She's underwater by $515 monthly, which she covers with credit cards, side hustle, income, and stress. She's earning more than 85% of Americans and she's broke. She can't save. She can't invest. She's trapped in mandatory employment because missing a single paycheck would trigger financial catastrophe. She's working 50 to 55 hours weekly, including commute and side work, and she has no path to reducing hours or taking career risks because she's built a life structure that requires maximum income sustained indefinitely. Maya, in the intentional path, makes different choices. At 35, she buys a smaller house in a less expensive area, $280,000 with 10% down saved over several years. Monthly payment, $1,950. She has two kids, but she and her partner coordinated careers, so one works part time during early childhood years, reducing childcare costs to $800 monthly. She drives a paid off 2016 sedan. Her student loans are the same, $380 monthly. Total fixed obligations, $3,130 monthly. Her take home on $85,000, $5,400 monthly. Margin, $2,270 monthly. She's investing $1,500 monthly. She has emergency savings. She can weather job loss, industry changes, or career pivots without catastrophe. She works 40 hours weekly. She has options. Maya, in the conventional path, doesn't have same income, radically different life experience, purely based on whether she built a life structure her income could sustainably support, or built a life structure that requires extracting maximum income constantly. Here's the identity shift required to escape the extraction treadmill. You have to separate your life goals from the culturally prescribed expensive milestones. Most people unconsciously adopt life scripts that were developed during economic conditions that no longer exist. Buy a house in your early 30s, have 2 to 3 kids, live in good school districts, send kids to college, retire at 65. Those milestones made economic sense when housing was affordable, childcare was cheap or provided by family, college was inexpensive, and pensions were common. In today's economic structure, pursuing those milestones at the culturally expected timeline with median income means perpetual financial stress. You're constantly stretching to afford the next milestone, never building security, always dependent on sustained maximum income. One job loss, one medical issue, one market crash, and the structure collapses. The person who opts out designs their life around what their income can sustainably support while building investment reserves. Maybe they rent longer and invest the difference instead of stretching to buy. Maybe they have one child instead of 3. Maybe they prioritize careers that allow schedule flexibility over maximum compensation. Maybe they choose a lower cost of living area over proximity to job centers. Each decision looks like settling by cultural standards, but creates actual financial security that the conventional path never delivers. Let me tell you about someone who figured this out. He's a software engineer, earning $110,000 in a high-cost city. His peers were all buying condos in expensive neighborhoods, leasing luxury cars, living the lifestyle their income supposedly entitled them to. He ran the numbers and realized that lifestyle would require him to work at maximum capacity indefinitely. One job loss would be catastrophic. He'd never be able to take lower-paying work he found more meaningful. He'd be locked into high-stress employment for 30-plus years. He made different choices. He kept renting in a modest neighborhood, $1,600 instead of $2,800 his peers were spending. He drove a 2013 Accord. He bought cash. He invested $3,500 monthly, 50% of his after-tax income. His peers thought he was failing to launch, still living like a college student despite earning 6 figures. 8 years later, he has $420,000 invested. He transitioned to part-time contracting work that pays $75,000 for 25 hours weekly. His investment income covers about 40% of his expenses. He's functionally semi-retired at 38. His peers who bought the condos and leased the luxury cars, they're still working 50-hour weeks in high-stress jobs because they need maximum income to service the lifestyle they built. They look more successful. He is actually free. Here's what he told me. For years, I felt like I was doing life wrong. Everyone else had nice apartments and cars, but I wasn't building those things. I was building options. Now they're trapped by their possessions, and I can choose my work based on meaning instead of maximum compensation. The successes they were performing has become a prison. The failure I was accepting built freedom. Here's the warning. The extraction will continue and accelerate. Landlords will keep raising rent. Insurance companies will keep increasing premiums. Healthcare costs will keep rising. Food costs will keep increasing. The economic structure is designed to capture any wage gains workers achieve. If you build a life that requires maximum income from your current earning capacity, you're building a structure that will become unsustainable as costs rise faster than your income. The only escape is building a life structure your income can support comfortably while directing significant margin toward investments. Those investments eventually generate passive income that can absorb the cost increases without requiring you to work more or stress more. You're building a buffer that breaks the extraction cycle instead of working harder on the treadmill that's designed to extract more from you every year. Here's what I want you to do. Calculate the gap between your current income and your current expenses. If that gap is less than 20% of your income, you're on the extraction treadmill. The system will capture any wage increases you achieve through cost increases before you can convert those gains to security or freedom. Your goal is to widen that gap to 30 to 40% by either increasing income or decreasing major expenses or both. Then audit your major expense categories: housing, transportation, childcare, healthcare, and ask, am I paying this because it genuinely serves my values or because I'm following a cultural script about what I'm supposed to have at my income, age, life stage? Most major expenses are driven by scripts, not genuine preferences. Opting out of the scripts can cut costs by 30 to 50% without reducing actual life satisfaction. The life you're working so hard for is getting more expensive because the economic structure extracts more from workers every year while delivering less. Working harder won't solve this. Earning more won't solve this. Costs will just increase to capture those earnings. The only solution is consciously building a life structure that your income can sustainably support while directing maximum margin to investments that eventually reduce your dependence on selling your labor. Your future self, the one who's either still stressed and working maximum hours at 55, or the one who's comfortable and has options, is being determined by whether you keep chasing the expensive life or whether you build a sustainable life and let investments create the eventual freedom the expensive life promises, but never delivers. The extraction won't stop. The costs will keep rising. The only question is whether you're building reserves faster than the system is extracting them, or whether you're on the treadmill indefinitely. Choose the margin over the milestones. Choose the investments over the lifestyle. Choose freedom over the performance. Your future self is counting on you to see the extraction mechanism for what it is and build the escape velocity that eventually breaks free from it. My name is Williams. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.